Call the meeting to order, town board meeting, special board meeting, Wednesday, January 29th, 6 p.m. Palmyra Town Hall at W1125, Wisconsin. Certification of compliance with open meeting law.
Yes, meeting was properly posted.
We've got to put the pledge on, but we will say the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody, thanks for being here. I want to take things out of order here. We have a constituent in the audience that probably wants to address item number 4. I'd like to make a motion to take item number 4 first, and then go back to number 1. Yeah, motion's been made and second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll take number 4 on the agenda. Discussion and.
Could we call roll call first?
Oh. Well, I'm jumping ahead this today.
Gajewski?
Here.
Martins?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Sorry.
I think I'm. Okay, number 4. Discussion regarding road condition on Betenz Lane and a request for direction/action to fill holes on Betenz Lane. I asked for this to be on here because I took a little tour the other day. And needs to say low and drive is terrible. Betenz Lane is worse. The other end of it turns from what little pavement there is into gravel, and there's some sizable holes down there that need to be dealt with. We have Mr. Kessler in the audience, and I'm sure Colin can fill us in with that road is utilized. People are in the back, are going back there to hunt or.
Yeah, it's all state land. Everything around there is state land. So during any hunting time, there's at least 30 vehicles a day through all of the hunting seasons. So pretty much October through up to 2 weeks ago for the latest deer season.
So seeing that, obviously, Michelle know about it. I did reach out to Northwest Services, and Bob went out there to give an idea on what he would have to do, and obviously it's filling the potholes and laying some gravel. The estimate there was $380 to fill in the holes in the gravel section for now. But that whole road is, can't even put it into words. I look at it, you know, all of our roads, Josh, and obviously minimum it needs to be wedged. I'll let you take over on that part.
Yeah, I mean, we could. And then put some 4 inches of pavement over the top of it. Because I almost ventured that there's nothing under it's there as far as gravel.
So,
I mean, as far as potholes go, yeah, they're 4 or 5 basketballs around and about 8 inches deep. So whether it's anybody out carousing or even to get Northwest out there to follow
well, you can't even do it.
the dead end part of it. You got it. So
I can't imagine that when he plows, when we do have sizable snow, that obviously he's got this much filled in the push down sections of the pavement.
Yeah, the pavement's crowned in the center, so if you have a low muffler, you're scraping the whole way. When he bridges across from the center to the side, there's some areas that are almost 6 inches deep of whatever was there that they're not even touched. So then they ice up, of course, and become a slip and slide through the whole thing.
So that part of it, the pavement, whatever, that's for you and the highway committee to look at, right?
yeah, okay.
But what's your feelings on having Northwest spend a maximum of $400 to go out there and fill potholes and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what their timeline is, but anyway, it's not the same material, but we've got frost coming out of the ground in the next
research, somebody was just, the county was just out there because there's a state access parking behind the barn that's there.
Yeah.
I believe the county just maybe 2 years ago chewed that all up from the end of the blacktop behind my shop for maybe 100 yards. So they've done some serious work back there. So I don't know if just filling is going to do anything.
Well,
We
I'm
might
looking
have
at
to dig it all out and get some big stuff, or next year you're right back there.
Or, I mean, for the time being, it's either we leave it the way that it is until we get to May, or we fill the holes in for the time being. And
Yeah.
see what happens the rest of the time.
Now, when you say county was doing what?
I don't know, they chewed it up, they had graders out there, they dug it all out.
They tilled it, they rolled it, or they tilled it, they graded it, and rolled it.
There's
Oh,
on the
it's-
sharp curve that goes back to my neighbor, Chris Kowaleski, the sharp 90, they dug that all out because, water was encroaching over the road, because it's all marsh through there. With all the springs that are around the road. And, they built it up a little bit, dug some stuff out, did a little bit of trenching. And, so they've had some action in there. But it's not, it's coming right back.
It's a gravel road. It's Wisconsin. It's gonna-
So, we're good with at least getting the holes filled up for now. Do you want to make a motion? I'll make a motion, we spend a maximum of $400 with Northwest Services to get that. So we're, filling the potholes back in, whatever $400 is plus.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Takes care of that. Josh is gonna be having the highway committee go out, look at all the roads here eventually, okay, and, see what needs to be done. There's some areas we got problems with, drainage and other stuff, so. Okay, thank you for coming, I really appreciate it. We appreciate it. Going back to number one.
Where's my house? There's my house. Right.
Hold on now, people.
Yeah, so right here, right there, it's grassy.
Okay. Number one, report on town chair meeting with village chair and village attorney relating to.
House.
Excuse us. You just have a booming voice. Thanks.
Let's start over. Number one, report on town chair meeting with village chair and village attorney relating to airport hangar assessments, how to manage parceling, and real property tax bill. Would you read the letter from the attorney, please? Michelle,
Sure.
please.
This is from Attorney Jonathan McDonald. Dear Palmyra board members, I wanted to provide an update regarding the recent meeting I had with Frank Slaughter, Kathy Weiss, president of the board of the Village of Palmyra, and village attorney Stan Ripple. The purpose of the meeting was to address the outstanding tax bill from the village regarding the airport property and discuss potential steps forward. The recommendation coming out of the meeting is for the outstanding tax bill to be paid while we pursue two possible avenues to simplify the process of determining tax obligations for the airport property. Assigning paragraph 1, assigning tax ID numbers. Attorney Ripple and I will coordinate to request that the county assign individual tax ID numbers to each property, making it easier to clarify ownership and obligations. Next, surveying the property. If assigning tax ID numbers is not feasible, a second option would involve working with the county to conduct a survey of the property in order to create the necessary parcels. This approach would come with an estimated cost of $7,000. The Airport Commission has agreed to contribute $2,000 towards that expense should this option be pursued. In either scenario, we recommend proceeding with the payment of the current tax bill and then moving forward with these options to resolve the matter more efficiently. That's it.
Okay, so that was a real nice meeting as far as I'm concerned. Both attorneys, right off the bat said, really, this is a county thing, and Riffle has been obviously around for a while. Suggested getting a hold of the court counsel to get this taken care of. What I didn't know until the other day is we have all the parcels have been measured out, photographed, everything, right, Michelle? And all you gotta do is assign a number to them. They've already put a price on each one of them. Assign a number. So the next step, and I haven't heard, well, as of yesterday, I met with them, or I'm sure it'll be a phone type meeting or Zoom or whatever. But both attorneys and court counsel will be discussing this matter, and then we'll hear back from our attorneys. But I do appreciate the village, wanting to work with us instead of against us. The idea of the airport, the airport wanting to pay up to $2,000. They thought that was very nice. With 5,000 to go, so I think in the end that if that has to be that way, they'll work something out. But that's the best we can do. And yes, his recommendation, and they did speak about paying the taxes, both of them. There's no way to get out of paying that taxes.
That's the second, that's the next step.
Well, he's recommending, what the letter say, it's better pay the taxes. So he has recommended that, and that's the gist of that whole conversation.
Does the village offer to pay a third of the $7,000 like the airport has?
It did not get that far because both attorneys said before we even look at that any further, let's get this meeting with the corporation council and discuss that.
When's the meeting?
Huh?
When is the meeting?
We don't know, is it? I'm sure he'll let us know, but it hasn't been scheduled as of yesterday, was it, Michelle?
I haven't heard anything.
Can we go back to our attorney and put the pressure on him to get that scheduled? So it doesn't, can doesn't get kicked down the road. And we're sitting here at this time next month, still wondering, given our responses that we've gotten to date from representation.
Which attorney is scheduling corporation counsel?
Both are.
Well, they both are, they gotta coordinate their schedules. But you can send Jonathan a letter, have you heard anything, whatever, been able to coordinate, whatever. That's where we're at.
So Jonathan changed his opinion on this, that his first feedback to us was that the town should not be responsible for this. So what caused him to change his directions?
Well, there's no getting around paying the taxes. They can't reissue any tax bills when they don't have parcel numbers. This year, unfortunately, it's on us, period, to pay it. That's, if we don't pay it, it's $180 a month. He recommends against that. We did discuss that.
Who
also.
recommends it?
Our attorney.
I'll make sure you weren't talking about the villages.
No, but he couldn't, Mr. Riffle couldn't see any way out of it. And if you don't pay it, you're delinquent on half the tax for 6 months and then the other half. And that's $180 a month, which is a small amount in what goes on in the world today, but I said, really, do you want to do that to the constituents?
To what?
189, I think we figured out, is a delinquency fee.
Yeah,
For 6 months. No, we can choose to pay them next month and make $100. That's his recommendation.
Right.
Then we have to collect it from the airport, hangar people,
Yes.
and Michelle has to do that? Or does the manager do that from the
He's
airport?
refused to do that.
Really?
Well, he won't do it.
You wanna tell us, I think that's important to our discussion here.
Well, I agree, but he said he will not do it.
What's that?
That's probably underwriting.
Okay, we done with number one?
No. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought somebody said something. Was there any part of the discussion about our lack of notice on this, which didn't give us time to go to open book?
Yep, you discussed that. Didn't really say too much about it. The whole thing was screwed up to begin with. The notification process, the wrong mailing address, it was going to the airport, which the airport manager said that he never got. So, and that's the other thing
So
that
the
he's
town
going to
takes
bring
the
up.
burden of everything being messed up.
Well, I guess that's,
Those are my comments. We can move on to number 2 if anybody else wants to.
no more? Okay, moving to item number 2, discussion and possible direction regarding payment of real property tax bill issued to the town. The tax bill covers real property tax for the hangars on the airport property.
So let's go back to the question. The airport is willing to pay $2,000 for the survey. Are they willing, and from what you just said, are they willing to take responsibility, or at least take co-responsibility, to chase down their own hangar owners to collect this and assist us with that?
As far as getting emails, addresses, Al, the airport commissioner, chairperson, has instructed Jeff to do that.
He has done that.
Everything,
Jeff-
all of them?
Everything he believes to be accurate, but he is not 100% sure. All of it's up to date. I have reviewed the leases and got information from the village. So between the two, hopefully we can figure it out. If we get a return, Jeff works with emails. He doesn't usually mail people things. I asked him if he had a distribution list, and he didn't respond to that, but I can create one, it's okay.
Well, my position on this is if the airport is unwilling, and okay, let's address, you're saying the airport manager, Jeff, said he will not assist with this.
Right, he said he doesn't have the capability to assist. So that's what he said.
He has as much capability as we have. And would we not have stand a better chance of getting reimbursed by the airport hangar owners if both the airport commission and the town went to them jointly?
Well, Bill's going to probably come from the town. Wouldn't he come from the town to the?
What bill? There's no bill, we're not a taxing authority. How are we gonna send a nice email? You've used the word nice several times, so far, a couple times in the meeting. I don't know that we're here to necessarily be nice, we're here to do what's best for the town.
How would you go about it, Michelle?
We already have a spreadsheet started, we know the totals, have to create a couple of simple formulas determining what percentage each person's assessment is of the total bill. Figure out the bill, do a mail merge. Send them a bill.
What
I
would
would
we,
not call it a tax bill.
that was gonna be my question, we're sending a bill for what?
Well, I don't know yet. I'll have to talk to the attorney about how we're gonna title that.
See, this has all the makings of a $20,000, $18,000 bill for the town, and very little compensation from the airport hangar owners. I mean, what, if,
I think this tax has a different name now, but they originally paid a personal property tax. They have not done that this year. So I'm not so sure it would be that difficult for them to reimburse the
it's no
town.
longer a personal property tax.
It's a real
property.
Exactly, but it's the tax they're used to paying.
I think it's actually higher now.
It may be higher, but it's not that it's additional tax or a new tax. They're used to paying a tax annually.
Not disagreeing with you at all. it comes down to whether if they're gonna look at this bill and say, I'm not gonna pay this. Or if they're gonna take personal responsibility and say, you know what? This is just how we're being billed this year, so I'll go ahead and pay it. And without the airport's commissions, to me, 100% support in collecting that for us, we're left out on the island.
So do we have copies, or does everybody at the airport have these? And do we have a copy of it at least, because one of the last airport commission meeting minutes that I read through said that there's not leases for all those hangars.
That's true.
So,
They're working on that, you know, it's a different subject, but they're working on that for the, is it February 22nd, airport commission meeting, those leases should be finalized.
so with that being said, the echoed concern that I have is that if the lease, which again is not approved by the town as the landowner, doesn't, if it specifically stipulates personal property tax, this isn't personal property tax. And they, knowing that the airport commission had at least a partial struggle in collecting stormwater fees at one point in time, to me, this really isn't any different as far as what the potential is. So, you know, this is like the 7-layer cake that nobody wants to eat after the holidays here. You know, if we don't have leases for everybody, and even if we do have leases from everybody, and the leases don't stipulate all taxes related to the improvements, and it says personal property tax, to me, we're paying a tax bill for somebody else's improvement, and unfortunately, misorganization, disorganization, mismailing, dismailing, whatever, is all pretty much led us to the point where everything's coming to a head. The lease problems are coming to a head, right? The lack of mailing notice from the village or whatever. Admittedly, it's not their problem to hand deliver tax bills to people, right? They stick them in the mail, and theoretically they go where they come back. So if they didn't show up, that's not their fault. They're not the United States Postal Service. At the same point, not being able, to me, part of this, nobody's really touched on, is the potential of contesting the valuation of these individual parcels or improvements, regardless of what it is, because we've sat through board of review, had nobody show up. That's not always the case. Even if somebody were to come in and say, hey, this hangar is worth $500 less for whatever reason, and the assessor would agree with them, it's $500 times whatever the assessment ratio is, that would come off this total tax bill. At the same point, do I think it's worth arguing in a court of law with the village over the process they use for this? No. Like, at some point in time, let's be grown-ups. If you have a hangar, pay the tax. Like that is the baseline of, let's let common sense rule the day. But until we get to that point, paying 20 grand, 15,000, whatever it is, and hoping that it comes back, I think our bucket's got too many holes in it to hold water on that one at this point.
And I think there's other things that, my opinion is, there's some steps, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. There's some steps I would like to hear answered before we decide. And one is, when is this meeting with the county? And what does the county come back to us with? Okay. And from our attorney, what can we do, if anything, if a hangar owner doesn't pay? And I'd like to see a deadline out there for payment. And what happens, is there any authority, or is there any, what's the right word, teeth? What can we do, basically, if somebody doesn't pay? Do we have any recourse? Shouldn't take them long to get us that answer. Shouldn't take us them long to schedule a meeting with the county and get back to us with what the county says. and I'm sure there's a couple of them I'm thinking of right now, before we would, to Josh's point, I mean, I am not feeling good about spending $20,000 of taxpayer money when we just went for a levy increase. That's supposed to go for roads and other things. Now, we may ultimately have to pay this, but I think it's premature right now. And to me, it's worth $180 to give us another month to get some of these answers. Talk to the commission, airport commission, about whether they're gonna 100% support us on this or not. And I'm concerned that if we go ahead and pay it, what precedent does that set for the future? We all think by next year it'll be resolved, but we don't know. So is it every year this is gonna happen? I'd like to get some legal feedback on, okay, if we pay it this year, between us paying it and next year's tax bill, what are the steps to make sure it doesn't happen?
Well, one of my curiosities of this whole thing, to take all of the nuances out of this, is if the attorneys can meet with county attorney and somehow something miraculous comes out of that, cool. If not, you know, is the state, the Bonnie's emails point, which thank you for replying again. We followed up a second time with our assembly rep. I reached out to him yesterday again. I know Rob had talked with, I don't know, Assemblywoman Duco, about this.
Not on this issue.
I think early on. Nonetheless.
Oh, no,
at a
you're
WT,
absolutely, no, you're right, you're right.
it was.
You're right.
So from that standpoint, like, is the state gonna what they screwed up or not? I don't know. Regardless of all of that, nuts and bolts of this whole thing, at some point, to Rob's point, we have to pay the taxes. Like, unless the state unwinds this and says, oh, by the way, 2024 doesn't count anymore, anybody who paid this tax is gonna get refunded. Ha, that chance, that ain't gonna happen. So at some point, the tax bill that was issued to the town is gonna have to be paid by the town, right? Can we go through the process of doing special assessments on that, on those hangar improvements? Because that, within reality, we have the authority to do special assessments. Does this qualify? I don't know. We haven't got it. But if there's no cooperation or no documentation or an argument or whatever it is, what's the end of the game? You just go to the finish line and say, here's where we're going. Let's be done with it. But do I think it's absolutely stupid to have to pay $189 for being late because of this? 100%. But at the same point,
Bonnie, thank you for your letter as well.
hard things.
Can you mentioned that you contacted somebody in the legislature affiliated with the new state law. And informed them, their comment was that would be a bad idea to pay it. Can you advise us of who the person is and the position so I can follow up with them?
It was the office of Representative Duco, but I didn't get the name of the aide. It was just in passing thought from the aide that.
So this was an aide to Cindy Duco.
Yeah.
That said it would be a bad idea for us to pay the
It
bill.
was a comment that it would be a bad idea to pay it. My impression was, well, are you setting a precedent? The town agreeing to pay it again next year if you still haven't got it on your mind.
Well, I mean, there's a
Question too.
But the comment also was made that it was an unintended consequence of the legislation, and they should take another look at that. Because this is an airport that's unique, and they're the ones who created the problem, they should be looking at it too.
in the grand scheme of things, no offense, but it ain't gonna be by January either.
True.
Well, I mean, January of this coming year, the way the state moves things through, if you look at it. Yeah, the next coming January, correct.
Oh, that.
You know, if you look at the origination date of Assembly Bill 245 and when it actually got turned into Act 12, 10 months is a far cry from unless all of a sudden this turns into, holy crap, we really, really screwed up and, you know, overshot the skis.
And that's kind of what my contact and her would be about is, given our unique airport and the situation we have here, we need her help to get some of the so-called experts on this, to dig into it and get back to us.
I can tell you that when we talked about this, whatever, 2 or 3 months ago, and looked at who had sponsored that bill, they're not from Southeast Wisconsin. So what the motivation was, why it was, whatever, it doesn't matter. But, you know,
Question?
Northwest Wisconsin's way different than Southeast Wisconsin when it comes down to some of the nuances of
Oh,
how
yes,
this
but
all works. So,
that's why we have representatives.
oh yeah,
Question, if we go back to an earlier part of your discussion about, say, the town pays the tax bill, would some of your issues collecting from hangar owners, could that be alleviated if you directed the airport commission to reimburse the town for the $18,000? And then it becomes the airport commission might be a little bit more energetic about
I
collecting.
brought that up at the last board meeting,
Yeah.
that why isn't the airport responsible for this? Either we pay it and they pay us, and they go after them. The discussion really didn't go anywhere. But I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I think the airport needs to be part of this discussion and not a disinterested party that has a manager that probably doesn't want to work on it.
Well, you know, the precedent has been set for that operation because prior to the annexation, the bills did come, they came from the county to the airport commission and they sent the bills out to the hangar owners and the hangar owners basically paid the town so the town could pay the tax
not aware of
bills.
that.
So that's the normal way it was done. Now that process is handled through the village because of the annexation. So the process itself hasn't honestly changed. Lori she gets the information from the county, she sends that out to the hangar owners, and they pay the village directly, and then the village pays the tax.
Yeah, I just have a comment with all this talk. My concern is that the town is bearing, like you said, Rob, we're bearing the brunt of a lot of this stuff that could cost us money. I'm thinking attorney fees, Michelle's time, the board's time, all of this. I don't know, where does it end? $10,000 out of pocket. I mean, I would really like to see everybody work together, the airport and the town. I don't know that we should be running into debt or having to pay, you know, attorney fees or anything to get this thing settled. I think they ought to write a check out of the airport checkbook that they've got close to $40,000 in, reimburse us, and we'll help them if they need help getting it from the hangar owners. We get reimbursed and see what happens next year. That's my thought. I just don't wanna see the town taking the hit on all of this stuff, sitting here every month trying to figure out how we get reimbursed, you know. So anyway, that's
And I will volunteer to help Jeff collect.
All right.
the other
But
thing,
that's my concern.
the other thing we could look at potentially, you know, as far as let's make this a little three-way party here, is that the village obviously in the past sent personal property tax bills to individuals. Those individuals are, I'm assuming, still the same individuals that are there. And as far as notification and having to go through this whole big hoorah of an email versus a mailing address or whatever, you know, that, to me, that's where they could help step up. Also,
So in other words, if she generates the bills,
like all the billing information, the village already has theoretically, or they didn't tax people, which not my problem, you know. So just stuff that,
I would say
from the
that,
standpoint of approving tonight, I would make a motion that we table this item until the February 10th regular council meeting.
yeah, okay, a motion been made to table item number 2 on the agenda. So the